over time technology is working against privacy, and it's
that's
evolving.
That's a better way to put it.
So, but encryption hasn't been broke. Some encryption has been broken, but encryption is still good. It still works, and as quantum computing advances, encryption protocols will advance too. So it's a race. And there are people trying to break it. But I heard the other day you were mentioning the whole thing with Signal and Tucker.
Yeah.
And so, to clarify that, so based on my understanding, Signal has not been compromised. The Pegasus program that you were referring to does have the ability to hack people and get into their device. But once you get into someone's device, it's actually easier to get into someone's machine or phone than it is to hack the encryption protocol. So if you can get into someone's phone, then you probably can get into their messages.
That's what they did.
So that's different. That's different than Signal being irrelevant.
Right. It's not that Signal's irrelevant, but it's just that the government right now has the ability to get into things no matter what. According to Gavin DeBecker, who's a securities expert, he said all they need is your phone number. Signal 1 was, Pegasus 1 was you needed a link. So someone would have to, that's the whole Jeff Bezos story. Someone sent him a link on WhatsApp. He clicked on that link, bang, all of a sudden they have access to his phone.
Right. And you have to be super sophisticated to lock yourself down to avoid that. Like, I'm sure that there are people who, I know there are people who are probably less victim to something like Pegasus. But
sure, probably less victim. But I mean, I guess with a guy like Jeff Bezos, he probably has someone scan his phone all the time. But I wonder if they could even detect Pegasus at this point.
Yeah.
And if we know about Pegasus 2, how do we know if there's a Pegasus 3? Like, whatever sort of workarounds they've found, I'm sure we're not going to be privy to it until it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, the layers of surveillance kind of keep zooming out. And I think this whole intelligence world is getting out of control. I mean, because you've got artificial intelligence, we have what we know is the state of human intelligence. We then have what is speculated to be potential non-human intelligences.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this Arrow office that just came out?
No.
So Arrow, All Domain Anomaly Research Office, that in the NDAA recently, there's all these UFO pieces of language. And so, and Christopher Mellon, who you've had on, is kind of really knowledgeable about this. I learned a lot of this from him. And anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is I think that intelligence and like secret information, like as it transcends through the corporate world and the government world, like it's all kind of interconnected and like the same types of models are used. So, but anyway, Arrow is the NDAA that recently passed now gives all these whistleblower protections to people to come forward, which is an absolute game changer. And Arrow is this new office that's like decently funded, I think like $11 million a year or something like that. And they're doing an audit, basically, of the government on these issues. And I think that it correlates to surveillance to me, at least in a in speculation, because like, what is this system? Like, if they're here, which I don't know, but that is surveillance. And, it's just all compartmentalized and we don't know what's going on. So that's why it's great that this office exists.
So, like, if someone wants to get a hold of, I feel like when you have something like Pegasus, all you have to do is have access to it, and you can get a hold of anything. And someone wouldn't even know if you. Obviously, Tucker didn't know. I don't know what kind of security protocols Tucker's company or what he uses, but obviously he didn't know that they had access to his phone.
Right. Yeah, I don't know all the specifics of Pegasus, but we also know everything from Snowden and the PRISM program, which maybe was winded down a little bit. I remember I heard some of that stuff got rolled back, but realistically, no. It's probably expanded, and
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd imagine they could do I imagine they could just get all the access to anyone who's in any room. Just zoom in on that room, know where all the phone numbers are, and just bam.
Yeah, but the paradox of having all these back doors is that it makes everybody less safe. It makes all of the government people less safe to have these back doors. I mean,
Right.
in some of the Twitter files, we found that these chat rooms that they had were using Signal.
Yeah.
The government uses Signal very heavily.
Yeah.
And the Twitter rooms where they had people from the social media industry and they use that. So to advocate for backdoors into encryption is just like self-mutilation. It's bizarre.
It's bizarre, but it's one of those things where they want to use it on other people, even if it could be used against them. They probably feel like a lot of the people they're checking in on don't have access to that. Like like a standard journalist, like if they want to like zoom in on Matt Taibbi's phone, I'm sure he doesn't have access to that. So it's like he can't use it on them, but they could use it on him.